Welcome! In this video, you'll discover how transitions and animations in PowerPoint can transform ordinary slides into engaging, professional presentations. Let's get started. So, to set up transitions, there's a tab with the same name. Essentially, it contains ready-made presets from which you can choose a transition you like. To see all transition options, click here. Slightly to the right are tools for additional transition settings. There aren't many of them, so you can quickly familiarize yourself with each one. If you need to add a sound to accompany a transition, or, for example, change the speed of the effect, you can do all of that using the tools here. To preview a transition or animation, click the corresponding icon. A smooth fade-in works well for the first slide, for example like this. For the remaining slides, I'll choose something different. If you want to see how everything looks in full screen mode, you need to start the slideshow. There are several ways to do this. You can click this icon or press the F5 key. You can move between slides using the left mouse button, as well as keys such as Enter or the spacebar. You can also use the arrow keys or set up an automatic slideshow, which I'll talk about a bit later. To exit this mode, press the Escape key. There are also other ways to start a slideshow. You can begin either from the first slide or from the current one. Now let's move on to animation settings. There is a dedicated tab for animation on the ribbon. You can animate any objects on a slide. In addition, you can apply a shared animation to a grouped set of objects. Overall, this set of tools is somewhat similar to what you see on the Transitions tab. However, animation settings are a bit more complex. So, I'll click on this group of objects and choose an animation for it. Then I'll group the text objects and assign an animation to them as well. By default, animations are triggered by a mouse click or by the same keys used to move between slides. I think you remember those keys since I mentioned them just a moment ago. So, I click once and the animation of the first group of objects is triggered. After the second click, the next animation appears. Notice the numbers displayed next to the objects. They indicate the order in which the animations appear. When there are many objects, it's recommended to activate the Animation Pane tool. Look, here are the objects that have animations applied to them. You can review them individually or change their order. Now, it's the opposite. This object appears first, and only then the neighboring one. If you want all objects to appear at the same time, you need to change the start parameter. Now, I'll show you how to do this. This time, I make a single mouse click, and all objects appear simultaneously. That's why they now all have the number 1 next to them. It means they will appear after 1 click. If you want the animation to occur automatically without a click, it's more convenient to set it up here. Now the objects appear automatically immediately after the slide transition. In the Animation pane, I'll change the order in which the objects appear. Look how this green slider has shifted to the right. In fact, this is the animation offset on the timeline. To make it clearer, I'll slightly change the animation duration and add a pause. This clearly shows what happens and in what order. First, the group of objects on the left appears slowly, then there is a short pause, and after that, the next group of objects appears. All sliders and the timeline can also be adjusted manually. Basically, this is the main thing you need to know about animation, and understanding it won't be difficult. Now I'll set up the animation for my slides and slowly show you all my actions so you can once again clearly absorb the learning material. The animation is ready. I remind you that a presentation is, first of all, your engaging and meaningful speech supported by visual material in the form of slides. So you shouldn't focus all your efforts on animation. Moreover, there are many ways to create impressive effects using simple transitions. For example, all the animation you see right now was created by adding just one transition to each slide. So, to achieve this effect, the first thing you need to do is create a duplicate of the slide. On it, I will change the title font and move it slightly to the right along with the line. Now I'll create 2 more duplicates of this slide. Good. The next step is to make changes to each duplicate according to the theme of your presentation. When you finish designing the slides, select the duplicates while holding down Control, then on the Transitions tab, choose Morph. Let's look at the result. Yes, that's exactly what we need. Would you like to learn another way to create an impressive transition using the Morph preset? Look, I have several slides. On each of them, I'll add 3 circles. Each copy of the circle should be smaller than the previous one. For the fill, choose the background. For the outlines, a semi-transparent white color works well. I'll copy and paste these circles onto the other slides. Now, on these 2 slides, I'll rotate the circles in opposite directions. Almost done. All that's left is to select these slides and apply the Morph transition to them. Let's take a look at the result. Great. In fact, you can master many beautiful transitions and animations, so feel free to experiment. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep creating.